शून्यवाद विपाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैतगदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण. Thank you, Mataji, for a very enthusiastic introduction. And thanks, Ram Vijay Prabhu, for inviting me. Thank you. So I know Ram Vijay Prabhu for many years, and the last time we had met was in 2005 in Albany. I was visiting there for some programs, and I think they were just newly married then. And it's a pleasure connecting with them again, and all the more so because they are organizing some really nice Kirtan festivals last few years. So he reached out to me and I said, okay, let's go for a day. It's in between Houston and Dallas, so that's how I'm here. So I've been asked to speak on the topic, who am I? Right? So it's a very interesting topic, and that's basically the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna speaks to Arjuna over 18 chapters. The Bhagavad Gita. All of you are familiar with the Gita. So I was sharing the Bhagavad Gita with one of many people in the local trains in Mumbai. You go out distributing books. So when I was showing the Gita to one gentleman, he told me, "Are you giving the Gita for free?" I said, "No, it's not for free. We are selling it for 70 rupees. So he looked at me and said, "Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna free. Why are you guys charging?" So I said, "Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna in Kurukshetra. This is Mumbai, 70 rupees is transport charge." So even in India, not everyone is enthusiastic about the Gita. Right? Haribol, Sarva, how are you? My old friend from Seattle. Nice to see you. So many people in India name their sons Arjuna. But you ask them what is the Gita, and they would not know. So the big question which arises is Bhagavad Gita answering any relevant issues, or it's just for those who are interested in some kind of religion or spirituality? So one of the greatest crises the world is facing today is mental health, and so the Gita is one of the first known books on mental health, and one of the first recorded cases of depression is Arjuna. And that's how the Gita is. So basically when we refer to who am I, we are talking about various levels at which we can define ourselves. So the first level is what we call as Swadharma. Typically someone says, "Who are you?" So you may say, "I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a professor, I'm a student, I'm this, I'm that." So Swadharma basically refers to the particular occupation we may be engaged in, the particular activity we may be engaged in, and you may define yourself like that. But that necessarily may not be something you like to do, or you're gifted with those qualities. But because of circumstances, you may be doing it. It is called Swadharma, and that's one of the biggest crises the world is facing. Because so many people are thinking that I'm engaged in this occupation, I'm doing this particular activity, but this is not what I like to do, and this is not what I am meant to do. I have not been created for this. Some of you feel like this? How many of you feel like that? So we had one of our friends who was in the army in the 60s in America. He of course later became a sannyasi in ISKCON. But before that he was, drafted in the Vietnam War. So he says that he was not meant to be a soldier. But because he was forcibly dragged into it, so he had to go. It was his occupation. So on the day in the battle, when he went into the forest, accompanied by a friend of his, so suddenly they heard gunshots. And then out of the blue, some bullets hit his friend and he fell on the ground. And this guy became really bewildered and frightened. He thought the next bullet is going to hit me. So immediately he started thinking about his family and future and this and that. And within an instant he picked up the dead body of his friend, placed it in front of him as a shield, and started walking back towards his own camp to safety. When he reached his camp, he found out that his friend is not dead, he is alive.
Hare Krishna.
And then the army rewarded him with bravery award for saving friend from battle. So he confesses that I was not honest enough to share under what circumstances I did that. Right? So many times we may be caught in a situation where we think we describe ourselves in a certain way. I'm an engineer, I'm a computer guy, I'm a physicist, I am this, I am that. So who am I? So you may have a certain role. You may be thinking that I am this. Even within that profile, every year profile keeps changing. And even after 5 years, in the same job, person starts thinking I should do something different, I should do this, I should do that. That keeps changing constantly. Right? Students, if they ask, who are you? So they start thinking, am I supposed to take maths or biology or this or that? So they are in a state of, I met one gentleman who gave his business card, like our Brahmatirtha who met this person. And he gave his business card, and the business card it was written his name, and below it was written his educational qualification, PhD BF. So this devotee got bewildered. He said, hey, what is this BF? He said, actually it is PhD but fail. So I said, I've never seen someone print a business card like this. I said, why did you print like this? He said, my dad wanted me to become PhD. How many of you have experienced that someone else wants you to be something which you don't want to be? So my dad wanted me to be a PhD, so I forced myself into admission. And after 1 year I realized I am not meant for this. There are PhDs, all glories to them, but I am not meant to be one. And he jumped out. But then later he wanted to visit conferences and lobby with all these different scientists and all. He had a desire. So he thought if people ask me for a business card and they don't see PhD, they'll be suspicious that I'm a gatecrasher. So he just printed a card with PhD, and to be honest, he added BF. And he said, actually, you're the first person who's asking me about this BF. Otherwise, most people think it's a degree beyond PhD. So, when we raise this question, who am I? So, the default answer which people think of is their current engagement, what I am engaged in. So therefore, when it comes to the Bhagavad Gita or the Battle of Kurukshetra, it's a huge battle which was fought in the midst of 640 million people. And Arjuna was right there. So Arjuna's first response of who am I is, I'm a warrior. Arjuna's occupation or swadharma was that of a warrior. And what was Arjuna's track record as a warrior? He never lost a battle. Arjuna never lost a battle. His career record was 100%. Right? He did not wait for anyone to give him appraisal. He didn't wait for anyone to give him promotion. And how did he earn money? He just conquered other kings. And that's how he expanded. He was known as Dhananjay, who earned wealth from everywhere, including the heavenly planets. So as far as Arjuna's Swadharma was concerned, he was perfectly in control. He was trained as a warrior under Dronacharya. And so there was no question about his occupation, about his duty. He was a powerful warrior. To the extent that Dronacharya, who was the teacher of Arjuna, who taught Arjuna, archery, he had given standing orders that never feed Arjuna in the dark. Never give him food in the dark. So one day Arjuna was sitting and eating, and there was a candle which was nearby, and suddenly a gust of wind blew and the candle was extinguished. The flame was extinguished. And it became dark. And Arjuna continued eating. So Arjuna started thinking, if I can eat in the dark, why can't I practice archery in the dark? So looks like I'm so lazy and I'm so dishonest that only when it comes to working I'm making excuse. Whereas the same conditions is good enough for me to eat and fill my belly. So from this moment I take a vow that I will practice in the day and in the night. And so Arjuna was practicing archery day and night. And therefore he was known as Gudakesha. Gudakesha means one who has conquered over sleep. So typically Arjuna had only one profession as a warrior and he had no other confusion regarding this. So why I am sharing the story of Arjuna is to let you know that compared to Arjuna, even at level 1 we have multiple confusion. Arjuna had absolutely no confusion because his father, grandfather, this, that, everyone had done only one thing. Right? And therefore Arjuna's occupation was set as a warrior. And Arjuna never thought at any point during his career, that he should do this or he should become a musician or this or that or anything. He was set as a warrior. His occupation was fixed. So that is the first level of who am I, what is my occupation, what is my duty, what am I trained in, Swadharma. Okay, then you move to the second level, because you may say, society is like that we are forced to take up occupations and works which we don't like. But that doesn't mean I am that. I may write something in my business card, but I hate it. I don't really like it. It is out of compulsion I am doing it. So then the second level of who am I is, first level is Swadharma, second is Swabhav. So Swabhav or Vritti can also mean your innate tendency. What's there within, what's your nature, what we like to do. Right? So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakrite jnanavanapi. Prakriti myanti bhutani nigraha kim karishati. And all of us have a certain nature, and that nature cannot be repressed, and it comes out. Right? So therefore, according to the particular nature we have, we all manifest activities in different ways. Right? So therefore, those natures impel us and force us to act in certain direction. I know of devotee who was very Kshatriya nature, or like a warrior type, fighter, fighting for justice, always getting into conflicts. If you give him a choice between eating a chappan bhog, big feast, versus going to the police station and fighting out, So he'll prefer that. So I told him once that, why don't you take a break, go to the Himalaya, Badrinath, there is a yatra going, spend 15 days, study Bhagavatam, cool down and come back. They're always aggressive, always fighting. Sometimes you should also relax. So he took my advice, booked his ticket. There was a whole Gurukul children group from Vrindavan, Gurukul ISKCON who were going to Badrinath. So he booked himself. So he sat in the train, opened the Bhagavatam. And he remembered me, saying that, okay, I must now cool down and study. So at the same moment, the Gurukul children, when they were sitting, some hoodlums, they came. And they started chasing those kids away, saying that this is our seat, you get lost. And they said, this is our reserved seat. No, we are going to sit here. So one of the children came running to this devotee and said, Uncle, they are teasing us, they are hitting us. Protect us, save us. Immediately Bhagavatam closed. He went there, gave a few shots to them, dragged them to the railway police, registered a complaint. The train was going, he pulled the chain, made sure that the whole case was properly registered, and then came back to his seat after everything was settled, picked up the Bhagavatam, then gave me a call and said, Prabhu, I tried to sincerely follow what you said, but what to do? Service follows me wherever I go. So some people have a certain nature. And that's what, we can always see. That if a certain swabhav is there, so it may come across in a certain way. So we may feel, I'm working as an engineer, but actually my nature is that of a teacher. I'm doing business, but my nature is more of that of an artist. So all of us are struggling with trying to identify our particular nature or swabhav. And that's fair enough, because that's another layer which we are dealing with. And that's one of the biggest challenges even professionals all over the world are facing, because they are trying to identify what is their core genius, how they can engage that in a particular way. Right? And so many people, they get into educational institutions and get involved in all kinds of study curriculum and all, but because they may not be fully absorbed in what they are doing and they may not be enjoying what they are doing, then they actually start, getting involved in the rat race, start competing and become filled with anxiety. And I remember when I was in IIT, at that point, one of my friends, he was in the 4th year, and he tried to commit suicide. And I was shocked that people are dying to get into IIT. This guy is in IIT trying to die. And I asked him, what's gone wrong with you? Luckily, that suicide attempt failed because the rope from which he was hanging from the fan, that broke. So the rope broke, so he survived. So I asked him, what's your problem? Why are you trying to kill yourself like this? One of my other friends also tried to kill himself by going on the railway track. He slept on the railway track to die. The train was 7 hours late. So he got frustrated and came back. So why do people become so hopeless? Because they have a certain expectation and they face a certain reality. And that gap between expectation and reality creates stress. That creates anxiety. And therefore, this is a very big issue which people are facing. How to take precaution in case of such stress. How do you deal with this? And then in the same campus, I found there are quite a few of my other friends, at least 4 or 5 of them, they had failed in 3 to 4 subjects. They could not even clear their exams. They had failed miserably. But they were moving around the campus blissfully, without any issues. And I was feeling ashamed. And I went to them and said, hey, what kind of guys you are? You have failed in so many subjects. You are moving around peacefully, going and giving blessings to those who are studying. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma bhale. You know. So they said, our philosophy is very simple. Why we are stress-free? Entering into college is our job. Taking us out of the college is college's job. So we are in our own world. So at that point I realized that success is not about what you get, but it is about, so as they say, what is the difference between success and happiness? Success is to get what you like, but happiness is to like what you get. And that's easier said than done. So you spend a whole lifetime trying to realize this one statement. So therefore, Swabhava is our innate nature. There is a certain psychophysical nature we are carrying, and we try to express it in a certain way. And to the extent we are able to be absorbed in that, that's our particular nature. And so Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, he had a nature of a Kshatriya. He could be absorbed totally in the battle, in fight, to protect injustice, to fight against injustice. And he had done that multiple times, successfully. And Arjuna was so absorbed that in the attempt to win over Draupadi, he could look at the reflection of the fish's eye. And just by looking at the reflection, he could shoot through the fish eye. That was the extent of his absorption and how his hand was so steady. So Arjuna not only had an occupation as a warrior, but he also had a nature of a warrior. And whenever he would see injustice, he could not tolerate. And sometimes some people are extremely aggressive. And when they see injustice, they just can't tolerate it. They speak up. And they start really fighting and shouting and screaming. And they don't bother about who's watching and how they are feeling. And sometimes I would wonder, okay, there is some issue, but why they have to become so disturbed and so aggressive? There are more peaceful ways of resolving this. Right? I was thinking, I would many times think like that. And I would think these people are too aggressive. But then one of my friends who's in the police department, is a commissioner of police, he shared with me a very interesting point. He was telling me, at the eco village we were trying to get some guard dogs. Because we got 2 dogs, German shepherds. And by regularly eating prasad, they became extremely peaceful. That irrespective of who comes, they wag their tail and they jump on that. So only those who are not aware, when they jump, they feel they are attacking. But those who know that they are trying to embrace you. So therefore, they became totally peaceful, docile. And so the police people, there was some incident and the police came and they said, these dogs, as guard dogs, they are useless. But, just if the villagers become afraid just by seeing them from a distance, that's a different thing. For advertisement, they are good. But for practical purpose, so the only reason they are there is our physical guards. The human guards, they feel sometimes afraid at night to tour the 100-acre. So they give them company. So for that they are, quite useful. But they are not in a position to take action and attack and things like that. So he said, how the police department selects dogs for guard dogs. So if 4 or 5 puppies are there, so they hold the puppy by the ear and they just give a little jerk. And the puppy which shouts the loudest, he is the most intolerant towards pain. And the one who is most intolerant shouts the loudest, and he is best suited to be trained as a guard dog. And in spite of pulling by the ear, if the puppy is just relaxed, smiling and no problem, tolerant, then he's great as a tolerant dog, but not good for being a guard dog. So someone was an instinct to guard, to protect. They have been designed to be intolerant and speak up and be aggressive. So that is their swabhav, that is their nature, which is positive when it comes to protection. Right? If you see danger coming and you are not doing anything to protect, so then you cannot guard. Kshatriya means to protect. Kshatrayate iti kshatriya. So that was very interesting. So therefore, someone who's meant to be a kshatriya, to be a warrior, to be an administrator, to protect, he has to have certain degree of intolerance. And that intolerance is an ornament. It should not be seen as a bad quality. That's his swabhav. Because if he does not become intolerant and if he's just forgiving and loving and this and that, he can't do his function. So therefore you have swadharma, which is the occupation, you have swabhava, which is your innate quality. And Arjuna had both of that in perfection. Arjuna's DNA was that of a Kshatriya. Arjuna's training and occupation was as a Kshatriya. But in spite of that, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna experienced a crisis. And what was the crisis? It was a regular day. Arjuna was ready for battle. He saw Duryodhana Dushyasan. Arjuna's, anger grew. He was ready to fight against them. And then Krishna brings Arjuna right in front of Bhishma and Drona. Bhishma Drona Pramukata Sarvesham cha Mahikshatam Uvacha Partha Parshaitan Samavetan Kurun Iti. So, even if your nature and your occupation match, and you are expert in what you do, you have a string of successes, and you are perfectly situated in that particular occupational duty, and the world recognizes you and appreciates you, and you feel while performing that activity that you are in flow, still there is no guarantee that a day will not come when your system will hang. And that's what Gita is all about. So you could not have, beat Arjuna in his profession, in his occupation, in his nature, in his training, in his culture as a warrior. So through his swabhava and through his swadharma, he was perfect. But the moment Arjuna saw Bhishma and Drona, till then Arjuna's inspiration and impetus to fight the battle was based on the expectation that my enemy will be Duryodhana and Dushyasan, towards which I have a natural enmity. Because what is the meaning of Duryodhana? Duryodhana means one who fights for the wrong cause. One who has dedicated his entire life choosing the wrong cause and fighting for it. That is Duryodhana. So Duryodhana is stupidity personified. And what was the wrong cause? Wrong cause was how I will protect my false ego and how I will demonstrate and prove to the world that I am the best. That was his cause. The only cause Duryodhana was trying to protect was I am the best. No one can be better than me. I am higher than everyone, better than everyone, more popular than everyone, more expert than everyone. And therefore Duryodhana would not allow, even in the peak summer, anyone to carry an umbrella above him to shade him from the sun. Because his philosophy was, how can even an umbrella be above me? That was the height of his, feeling of superiority. So therefore, all Yudhishthira had asked for was 5 villages. But Duryodhana had such insecurity, he felt if I give 5 villages, people from other parts of my kingdom will leave my kingdom and go to his village. And so I should not give him anything. So Arjuna had a natural enmity towards Duryodhana, towards Dushasana. But right there, when Arjuna saw Bhishma and Drona, he became bewildered. Like one gentleman was talking to me and saying that, what is this Gita, Vita and all about? And I don't believe in all this, I don't understand all this. I said, whether you understand or not, will you keep your son's name Duryodhana? No. Will you keep your son's name Dushasana? And give him nickname Dushu. Call him. He says, no, I will not. Kya bol rahe hain? Mazak kar rahe ho? I said, Arey, why not? Keep them. No, you don't believe in Gita and all that. You have not studied. What difference it makes? He says, no, I may not have studied, but Duryodhana big problem. There is something seriously wrong with him. So why do people keep their son's name, grandson's name and children's name Arjuna? They don't keep Duryodhana. Although Duryodhana was also an administrative expert, he was a powerful king. Everyone in the kingdom had all kinds of facilities. So as an administrator, he was highly competent. But history does not record people's competence. History mainly recollects those with character. And therefore it was Arjuna's character which ultimately won over Duryodhana's competence. Although Arjuna was also competent. So therefore, we find that there is too much of emphasis in our education system on developing competence and not enough on developing values and character. But what was the cost of not developing character? People think that, character, values, this doesn't have any, financial implication. The implication was, in 18 days, Duryodhana's envy, superiority complex and insecurity, it made 640 million families bereft of their male members. 640 women became widows over 18 days period. No epidemic in the history of the world has struck. No bacteria, no virus, no nothing has killed so many people in such a short duration as the virus of envy in the heart of Duryodhana. So we should not think that the greed, pride, lust, envy and anger carried in the heart, they are small things. They have very huge implications. And so as soon as Arjuna saw Bhishma and Drona, his mind started reeling. Why? Because Arjuna's identity as a warrior, as a Swadharma, warrior. Swabhav, Kshatriya, perfect. But then suddenly, these two identities which Arjuna had, Arjuna's identity as a warrior, which he was so confident about and which he thought was my roadmap to success, was my gateway to bliss, is my gateway to fame, because all I need to do is focus on my career, on my profession. If I become skilled, that's it. I attain everything. So Arjuna attained everything being a warrior. But at that moment when his eyes fell on Bhishma and Drona, he realized that his identity as a warrior is clashing severely with his another identity. His identity as a grandson. He said, here is my grandfather, Bhishma. His identity as a student, here is my teacher, Drona. As a student, I am supposed to be grateful towards my teacher. As a grandson, I am supposed to be affectionate and loving towards my grandfather. That's my duty as a grandson. That's my duty as a student. So my duty as a student and as a grandson is severely in conflict with my duty as a warrior. And that is what is called dharma sankat. That is what is called conflict. Conflict in identities. And when this thing happens, we go through severe paralysis. And that becomes the seed of what everyone calls as crisis in decision making, crisis in mental health, depression, because we lose the impetus and the pause. We know what to do, we know how to do. Arjuna knew what to do, Arjuna knew how to do. But suddenly Arjuna became confused on why to shoot. He knew how to shoot. He knew what to shoot. But suddenly, by seeing Bhishma and Drona, Arjuna got confused. Why to shoot? I need to shoot. But can a grandson kill a grandfather? Can a student who has learned everything from the teacher kill that same teacher? So that created confusion. So therefore, all of us, we are juggling with multiple identities every moment. And many times we don't realize that. And many of those identities, as long as they are in harmony, it's no problem. But when these identities come in conflict with other identities, then the crisis begins. And that's where Arjuna's Swabhava and Arjuna's Swadharma, it could not help him. Because Arjuna realized that I know what to do, I know how to do, but I just don't know why to do. And therefore Arjuna, with all the education he had till that stage, with all the string of successes he had in his career, he could not process that situation. And he could not come out of that entanglement of decision making. Because his existing set of identities were all clashing. And therefore he expected Krishna to reveal another layer of identity, another level of identity which had not been revealed till then. And that identity is called Swarupa. And Swarupa is one's constitutional position and nature. And so Krishna, he turns to Arjuna, because Arjuna is telling Vepatuscha sarire me roma harshascha jayate gandiva sramshate hastat pakchaiva paridhi. My dear Krishna, by seeing Bhishma and Drona and simply imagining that I have to kill them, those whom I love, I must kill. My lips are drying up, my limbs are trembling, my hairs are standing on end. I can't do this. And so Arjuna becomes completely confused. He goes through a severe crisis. So therefore many times people feel, that the word love is highly misunderstood. Everyone talks about love. Right? The movies talk about love. Hollywood talks about love. Bollywood talks about love. And then you open the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, there also there is love. Krishna is speaking about love. So what is this? I remember when we were in, Chopadi, 2004, Raghunath Maharaj told us you should start a Govinda's restaurant. So when we were preparing for the Govindas, he told us one of the items you must have in the restaurant is pizza. So till then, we never had tasted authentic pizza. So our whole idea was someone had brought some bread, they put some tomato ketchup, and put some fried brinjal on top. And they used to advertise, this is pizza. And we didn't know. We said, chalo, this is pizza. And we would give Maharaj also. And ask him also, how is it? So I told that, you are talking about pizza in the restaurant, but I don't think it's really something worth keeping in a restaurant for sale. Maharaj said, which pizza are you talking about? That which you guys feed me? I said, yeah, what else? That's the only thing we know. Maharaj said, that is not pizza, that is perverted reflection of pizza. Then he got Kaustuba Prabhu from New York and he taught us how to make pizza. Maharaj personally brought out a box and he gave me. And I said, what is this, Maharaj? He said, artichoke hearts. What? What choke? Artichoke, what's that? I said, you won't understand, just do it. So it was like a whole, pizza 101. And then for the first time we made, thin crust pizza and this and that. So we used to call that also pizza, the previous version, previous avatar. This also we are calling pizza. Name is same, but experience is different. So similarly, we are liberally using the word love. This is love, that is love, this is love. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is reversing the entire conception of love. Pragada premere ei swabhava achar nijadukha vignadir nokore vichar. Where there is every reason for a relationship to be broken, still it is not broken. That is love. In a relationship, if there is a scarcity, impediment, discomfort, unhappiness, and still, the relationship continues. So it is born out of selflessness and not out of selfishness. And so Krishna tells Arjuna that you are looking at them and you are thinking in terms of I, me and mine. But beyond that, there is a call of the duty of dharma. That they are representing the forces of Duryodhana. They are representing the forces of adharma, of evil. And by the way, when you shoot the arrow, as a swadharma, occupation as a warrior, impelled by your swabhava as a warrior, but most importantly, you should know that when you are hitting them with those arrows, they have a swarupa as soul. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavo. That those soul cannot be destroyed, that soul cannot be touched. That soul remains eternal. And that soul will simply accept another body. And therefore, my dear Arjuna, do not think that you are a Kshatriya. You may be a Kshatriya. You may be a Kuru dynasty ruler. You may be a younger brother. You may be the son. You may be the husband. You may be the student. You may be the grandson. A million identities we are juggling with. But the cause of our anxiety is we are trying to control all those identities simultaneously. And therefore Krishna tells Arjuna, let go and realize your real identity as a soul which cannot be touched, which cannot be changed by the forces of time. And when you place yourself in that identity, Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava, then you will attain the state of Sthita Pragya, real, deep, lasting peace and fearlessness. Because in that state, no power can shake you. That identity is beyond all calamities of this world. So realize yourself as a soul. That's your real Swarupa. That's your real you. And so Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna right in the middle of both the armies, when Arjuna's feet were wobbling by seeing the conflict in his identities. And therefore all of you will go through challenges, difficulties. Things will happen which will severely question your identity as a husband, as a wife, as an employee, as an employer, as a business head, as a friend, as a lover, as a student. Whatever role you may be taking so seriously will be severely questioned by the forces of time. And when that happens, you should know that the ultimate shelter is, I have to realize my true identity, my Swarupa as a soul. Jiva Krishnadas e Vishwas karle aana dukhanai. When we get the total conviction that I am a soul who's eternal servant of Krishna, Krishna doesn't change, soul doesn't change, relationship between the soul and Krishna doesn't change. That's the platform of fearlessness, and joy. Otherwise, every other identity can potentially get shaken up any moment. One big businessman came to me and he was talking to me and he was saying, I have so much of money. It is like ocean water. He's telling me directly, I have so much money, it is like water in ocean. But the problem is, my desire to increase that ocean doesn't stop. And the ocean water is salty, it is not quenching my thirst. But I see that you have chanting Hare Krishna, so you have sweet water. You have well water, which is sweet and deep. Please give me a few drops of your well water. I said, definitely, please take. Whereas you can give me a few drops of your ocean water. I didn't see him for next 6 months. And then, sometimes he would come and say, oh, the market is going down. He came in an orange t-shirt one day. I said, kya hua? Arey, stock market gaya. I am also thinking I will join you guys. Looks like that situation is coming. So there are other forces which when they change, it shakes our identity. Right? And therefore, people are in constant anxiety. This is not, the parents want the children to be Einstein and Newton. And they kind of extrapolate in that direction and they feel like that. So that's their identity. And when something happens, so their whole existence is shaken up. The child is in bliss. He is not affected so much. The parents are in anxiety. What is going on here? Especially not much in America probably, but in India it's a big deal. And the parents go through the whole education system once again when they are teaching the children. Why? They invest their complete energy in that and they become absorbed in that and they think, this is mine, this is me. Right? So like that, the biggest challenge is we are juggling with millions of identities. And this I am speaking of Bhagavad Gita before Facebook came. So how many more identities you can add now? There is no end to that. So therefore, the conclusion is the real identity which all of us will experience peace in is to realize that I am Jiva, I am Atma, the Swarupa, which is part and parcel of Krishna. And it is not different from the concept of eternal service to the Supreme Lord. And no power in this creation can stop that service from happening. That desire to serve cannot be impeded. And so the greatest asset each one of us carry is not the property, is not the wealth, is not the jewels and the gold and the silver. The greatest asset we carry is our desire, our aspiration. And so the association, like the one which has assembled this evening, it creates the right aspirations. So the real defeat is not loss in a battle, or loss in profit, or loss in academics, or loss of position and job. The real loss is the loss in one's ability to desire. And as long as the desire is burning strongly, it is success. The day the desire goes away, that is defeat. And that's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
That was such a wonderful class. Does anyone have any questions? This is your opportunity to hear from Gauranga Prabhu and ask him any questions you may have. Please, not everybody ask at once.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I had a question on the last thing that you ended about desire. Are all kinds of desires good, or even desire has to be regulated, or what kind of desire?
Yeah. Desire can be in three modes. Mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance means one desires to destroy others. Mode of passion, one has unlimited desire to enjoy. And mode of goodness, where one wants to help others. So different levels of desire may come. But the kind of desire we are talking about here is the desire to serve without selfish consideration. And that's the definition of love. As I said, in every relationship there may be a scarcity, impediment, discomfort, unhappiness. So similarly, when we decide to serve the Lord, there may be challenges. So it is not that Arjuna did not have challenges. Krishna spoke the Gita, convinced Arjuna to fight. Arjuna began the battle, and then calamity struck. Arjuna lost his son, who was only 16 years old. And what was Arjuna's son's name? Abhimanyu. He was killed. Is it not? And this scenario happens, and in Bollywood movies they show that the hero loses faith in God and he goes and questions in the temple. That's what stereotype Bollywood movies they show. He goes and challenges why this has happened. So Arjuna's son was killed. So it was a big calamity. But did Arjuna lose faith in Krishna? No. Arjuna expressed his emotions. Arjuna cried. And seeing Arjuna cry, Krishna came next to Arjuna. Krishna started crying. So Arjuna turned to Krishna and said, "Hey, my son died, I am crying, why are you crying?" Krishna said, "I just spoke whole Gita to you, and in spite of hearing that, you are crying." What do you expect me to do? Seeing that, I am crying. So, if someone comes to a temple or a church or a spiritual place expecting that visiting the hospital is an insurance against any future disease. I have a doctor sitting right in front of me. So, if anyone says, "I am visiting hospital," why? By visiting hospital, I will never become diseased. So it's a wrong premise. We go to the hospital to be educated about health, to learn better ways of preventive health care, and in case we have some affliction, we take proper guidance and medicines. If someone thinks, every evening I will tour the hospital and come 1 hour, disease will not come. That doesn't make sense. So going to the temple thinking that if I regularly visit and worship and come, calamity will not come. No, there is no correlation. So the purpose of spirituality is not that we can change circumstances. Circumstances cannot be controlled, only consciousness can be controlled. So therefore, Ram appears in Ayodhya, Krishna appears in Hastinapur. The administration of Ayodhya is first class. Administration of Hastinapur is super. But where is the problem in both places? Family. So the Lord is saying, "Arey Baba, you are worrying about your family, thinking how I am not in control of my situation. I am the Supreme Lord. I am controlling the whole universe. I am controlling millions of universes. But see my family situation." I can't control it. Ram could not control the family situation. Everything went totally haywire. Dasharath ruled over Ayodhya for 60,000 years. What control he had? Can anyone imagine such administrative prowess? That you keep a whole batch of citizens satisfied for 60,000 years without any effort or attempt at rebellion. 60,000 years he kept people satisfied. That means what administrative acumen he must be having. So he was ruling over the state which is called Ayodhya, which cannot be defeated in a battle. Dasharath could not be defeated in battlefield. He was defeated in his own house. Right? So Dasharath could not be defeated by physical arrows. He was defeated by the sharp words spoken by mantra. So gossip is more powerful than Brahmastra. What destroyed Ayodhya was gossip. And who triggered it off? Mantra. So therefore Lord is trying to share with us that we cannot control circumstances and situations in this world. You have to tolerate the way I have tolerated. Krishna also tolerated. Pandavas also tolerated. Yatra dharmasato raja gadapani rupodara krishnostri gandivam chapam suhut krishnas tato. Bhishma is looking at the Pandavas and he is amazed. What kind of a family is this? Yudhishthira is dharma personified, Bhima is power personified, Arjuna is skill personified, Nakul and Sahadev is loyalty personified, Krishna is well-wisher personified, all are together. When all forces are together, you should expect only success and success and success. But they only experience calamity after calamity after calamity. Yudhishthira tells Krishna, when people read about our life and future, they may not become your devotees. They may think twice. And if by becoming Krishna devotee, this is the situation. But why Krishna puts the Pandavas in that situation as an example for us? That do not accept spirituality expecting that some shortcut solutions will come. That you will have an easy way. You will have a bed of roses to walk on. No. So Chakravarti Pant says, from the material world to spiritual world, there is a staircase which goes. Every step of that staircase is a disaster. So therefore, circumstances cannot be controlled. Only consciousness can be controlled. So therefore, Churchill defines success as the ability to go from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. So that's what Gita is teaching. That you fight. And that's the difference between Arjuna and Dronacharya. Dronacharya heard the rumor, your son is killed. Dronacharya lost the will to believe. So Dronacharya's son was not even killed. He was alive. But Dronacharya's foundation in life was so fragile that just by hearing that my son is killed, he felt, what else is there? Nothing is there. He lost the will. He had all the skill, but he lost the will. So when you lose the will, then that's the ultimate end. Whereas Arjuna actually lost his son. But although he lost his son, still he had a higher cause to fight for Krishna for the sake of Dharma. And so he continued fighting. And so his will to fight was difficult. It was difficult for Arjuna to experience the death of his son. But he continued. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. As I said, in the Hare Krishna tradition, we welcome by saying Hari Bol 3 times. We also thank you by saying Hari Bol 3 times. So in a loud Texas style, because everything is bigger and louder and greater in Texas, as they say, let's loudly thank Gauranga Prabhu by saying Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Again, thank you so much, Gauranga Prabhu, for that absolutely enlivening, inspiring, and just a phenomenal class. We all felt like we're in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, didn't we? We could feel like Krishna and Arjuna having the conversation. If you did not get enough of hearing nectar from Gauranga Prabhu, the nectar continues. As we said, Gauranga Prabhu is in a tour of Texas. He's leaving tomorrow to go to Houston. To Dallas. There is this mango that I don't know a lot about mangoes, but in Andhra Pradesh you get this mango where you have to squeeze the juice. And the more you squeeze it, the better it is. So we want to take some more nectar from Prabhu tomorrow because as long as he's here. So he will be giving class tomorrow morning on Srimad Bhagavatam, the book that he mentioned today. The class is going to be at the home of Ram Vijay or Tushar and Lalita Madhuri or Leena. Most of you know them. If not, you will get to know them tomorrow. Their address is 3632 Aquamarine Drive. Do you mind raising your hands? So it's him and his wife will be serving dinner inside. Their address again is 3632 Aquamarine Drive. The class will be from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. So please come tomorrow morning if you'd like to hear more from Gauranga Prabhu. We talked a little bit earlier about Eco Village. Gauranga Prabhu is also known for expertly organizing these massive yatras or trips that his spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, conducts in India. And these yatras, anyone can guess how many people go on these yatras? These are road trips essentially. 4,000 or 5,000. 4,000 or 5,000 people go on these trips. And recently in National Geographic, in Mega Kitchen, they actually did an episode explaining how they cook prasadam and coordinate these trips for 4,000 or 5,000 people around India. Gauranga Prabhu is also giving classes on Asta. This channel used to come, I think, on Star Plus in the morning. They would give spiritual classes. And Gauranga Prabhu was giving classes there as well. So as I said, today we got to hear, we were so fortunate. For 1 hour we got to hear from Gauranga Prabhu, but thanks to the power of internet, you can hear a lot more of him. So please search for his videos online, get to hear more nectar from him. Gauranga Prabhu talked a little bit about Radhanath Maharaj, who's a spiritual master. Radhanath Swami is a very special Maharaj, and he has a very beautiful journey of self-discovery. We actually have Maharaj's books here today, Journey Home and Journey Within. Both of them were bestsellers. Journey Home is no longer in print anymore, I believe, because Journey Within is a new book. So if you don't have a copy of Journey Home or Journey Within, please get the copies today. How many of you are here for the first time at the Austin Vedic Cultural Center? Can we all give a huge round of applause for all these people here for the first time? Thank you so much for coming to our Austin Vedic Cultural Center on behalf of Austin Krishnas and Austin Vedic Cultural Center. We're very grateful you could be here. We meet here every Sunday at 11:30 in the morning till 1:30 for our Sunday feast. So please try to join us this Sunday, next Sunday, any Sunday that works in your calendar. Our programs typically have Aarti, Kirtan, there's a class, and then a delicious lunch prasadam. So we're getting ready for dinner. But I think not everybody is done with kirtan. Is everyone okay if we do a little bit of kirtan for some more time? Yes. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to do something different. We're all going to stand up, if possible.